Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey. It's inspired by one of those ideas that just sort of sticks with you.
Yeah, sometimes the most powerful insights aren't in long essays, right? They're just concise.
Exactly, like a perfectly cut diamond.
Right.
Small, but it reflects so much once you start looking. And I'm really excited to explore this one with you today.
Me too.
So our source material is exactly that kind of gem. It's a short but incredibly potent excerpt. It's from On Leadership and Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And the core statement, the one that really jumped out at us, is this: strike the leader, take down the source of resistance, and the rest will fall.
Wow. Yeah, it's very direct.
It really is. You can almost feel the confidence in that statement. It suggests there's a key, a lever you can pull.
A shortcut, almost, in a world that feels anything but simple sometimes.
Precisely. So our mission, our goal for this deep dive is to really get under the skin of this principle. What does leader actually mean here? Is it always a person?
Good question.
And what about striking? What does that involve? And maybe the biggest question for you listening, how can you use this lens? How can you apply it to your own challenges, big projects, personal goals, whatever's got you stuck?
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah,
It's quite something, isn't it? How just a few words can feel so significant.
totally.
On the surface, it sounds like, well, almost like a command, a universal rule for getting things done.
Right.
But when you start peeling it back, there's this whole layer of strategic thinking underneath. It really pushes you to look beyond the symptoms, doesn't it?
It does. To find the root cause.
Yeah, to ask, what's really driving this whole situation?
Okay, so that feels like the perfect place to start. Let's deconstruct it.
Hmm?
Strike the leader.
Mm.
What are we actually talking about here? Is it always, the CEO? The person in charge?
Or is it something maybe less obvious?
Yeah, I suspect it's broader than just the person at the top.
I think you're right. If we think bigger picture, leader here isn't necessarily a job title. It's more of a strategic concept.
Well,
It's about identifying the linchpin, the central organizing principle of whatever resistance you're up against.
the linchpin. I like that.
Let's maybe break down some of the forms this leader could take, because it's probably more varied than we first think.
Right.
So first off, yes, it can be a literal person. That's the most straightforward reading.
Right, like a boss or a team lead.
Exactly. Or maybe a really charismatic founder whose vision just holds the whole company together. Or conversely, maybe someone whose indecision creates a massive bottleneck.
Okay, makes sense.
Or maybe a key client or a stakeholder whose approval you absolutely need. Removing or maybe neutralizing that person's influence in that specific context. Yeah, that could definitely shift the whole dynamic.
Neutralizing influence. It's interesting wording.
But, and this is where it gets maybe more profound, the leader can be a core idea or an ideology.
An idea, how so?
Well, think about a company that just can't seem to innovate. Maybe it's not one person blocking things. Maybe it's a deeply embedded cultural belief, like we've always done it this way.
The classic resistance to change.
Precisely. Or risk-taking, not around here. That belief, that shared mental model, that's the leader stopping progress.
Okay.
Or think personally. Maybe you feel stuck, right? Sabotaging your own efforts. Perhaps the leader isn't a lack of willpower, but it's actually a deep-seated belief about what you're capable of.
Like an internal script running the show.
Exactly. And challenging that script is the real strike.
Wow. That really shifts the focus. It's not just external figures, but internal constructs, too. Makes you think about your own stuff, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Then you could have a critical resource or a dependency acting as the leader.
Okay, like a physical thing.
Yeah, or something tangible the system relies on. Remove or change that one thing and the whole structure gets shaky.
Give me an example.
Think about supply chains. One crucial component, maybe made by only one supplier somewhere. That component or that supplier can basically hold an entire industry hostage if something goes wrong.
We've definitely seen that happen.
Right. Or in software, maybe there's one core flaw in the architecture. Left unfixed, it causes dozens of seemingly unrelated bugs later on. The flaw is the leader, not a person, not an idea, but a tangible point of failure.
Got it. This single point of failure idea.
And one more, which I think is often overlooked, the leader can be a central process or a habit.
A habit. Like my morning routine.
Could be. It's that single routine or step in a system or, in your personal life that has the biggest ripple effect. If you change that, other things might just unlock.
Interesting.
Like someone trying to get healthier. They think they need this massive overhaul, right? Diet, exercise, everything at once.
Yeah, feels overwhelming.
But sometimes the leader of their resistance is simply the habit of hitting the snooze button 5 times.
Huh? I know that one.
It cascades, right?
Correct.
Rush morning, skipped breakfast, no time for a walk, reactive day. Change that one habit, get up on the first alarm, and maybe, just maybe, the rest starts to fall into place more easily.
I love that. It really broadens the concept. Leader as a point of critical influence, not just authority. Okay, so if the leader can be a person, an idea, a resource, a habit, what about resistance? How should we think about that? For you listening, what might your resistance actually look like?
Well, resistance here is pretty broad, too. Basically, it's anything getting in your way, anything blocking progress towards whatever outcome you want.
So it could be anything from a rival company?
Right, overt opposition. Or a colleague who just has a totally different agenda. But it could also be much more subtle.
Like what?
Like inertia, that feeling of just being stuck, Can't get momentum on that project, can't start that new habit.
I know that feeling.
Or it could be a really complex problem, like a tangled web of issues. The resistance is the whole mess. Or maybe it's just the status quo, the way things are, that prevents any real change or innovation.
So it's the obstacle, the thing we need to overcome.
Whatever form it takes, yeah.
Okay, leader identified,
Yeah.
resistance understood. Now, this is where it gets, as you said, really interesting, maybe a little edgy. The idea of striking or taking down.
Yeah, the language is strong.
It is. Does it mean we have to, like, destroy something? Or is it more nuanced? Neutralization, removing influence. What does strike really imply?
That's a really important question. Is strike about brute force, or is it about strategy?
Right.
Surgical precision.
Right.
I don't think the source necessarily means, violence or total destruction in every case. Striking seems to be about targeting that point of maximum leverage, maximum efficiency.
Okay.
It's about figuring out the most impactful place to intervene so you get the result you want without wasting energy fighting everything else.
So less scattergun, more sniper rifle.
Exactly. Sometimes, maybe it does mean dismantling something. Shutting down an old system that's just draining resources.
Yeah.
But I think more often it's about strategically shifting its power, maybe making it irrelevant, or building something better that just bypasses it completely.
Do you give an example of that?
Think about, say, a harmful policy as the leader. Striking, it might mean a campaign to repeal it. Or maybe it means passing a new law that just makes the old one obsolete.
Oh, okay. Rendering it powerless.
Right. Or if the leader is that critical resource you depend on, striking it could mean finding a new supplier, developing your own alternative, or figuring out how to work without it. It's not always demolition. Often it's about precision, about redirecting energy.
I like that focus on precision. It makes it feel less like a battle and more like, I don't know, strategic problem solving. Almost elegant. And then we get to the big payoff, the promise. The rest will fall. That's the really alluring part, isn't it?
It is, the domino effect.
Yeah. It suggests you don't have to fight every little fire. You hit the main source and the whole structure crumbles.
Exactly. And what's fascinating there is this whole idea of leverage. Finding that one single point, maybe it's obvious, maybe it's hidden, that once you deal with it, saves you from tackling all the smaller stuff individually.
The critical node.
Yeah, the critical node, or the single point of failure concept. If a system of resistance really does hang on one key element, the leader we identified, then addressing that element can genuinely cause the whole thing to collapse or just dissipate. Think about a business, maybe, struggling with really low employee morale.
Okay.
You might see loads of symptoms, right? People quitting, low productivity, constant complaints, no one taking initiative.
The manager's nightmare.
Totally. And you could try fixing each symptom, offer more pay, run team building days, change the review process.
Patching things up.
Right. But what if the actual leader of all that negativity is, say, one toxic middle manager whose behavior just poisons the well for several teams? Striking that leader, maybe through coaching, maybe moving them, maybe letting them go, could actually make all those other problems just fade away because you've removed the root cause.
That's a powerful example. Shows how just treating symptoms is often wasted effort if the core issue, the leader, remains.
It's about efficiency, finding that keystone.
But, okay, here's the counter question. Does it always work like that? Are there times when striking the leader isn't enough, when the rest doesn't fall? We don't want to oversimplify this, right?
Absolutely not. That's a critical check. If we connect this to the bigger picture, you absolutely have to assess. Is the leader I found really the main source? Or is it just one part of a more complex, maybe more resilient system?
So context matters.
Hugely. This principle works best when the resistance is genuinely centralized, when there is a clear single point of failure, and that leader truly holds most of the power or influence.
And when might that not be the case?
Think about something really distributed, like a big grassroots social movement.
Okay.
There might be figureheads, influential people, sure. But if you remove one leader, does the whole movement collapse? Probably not. Someone else might step up, or the movement adapts because its strength isn't in one person. It's in a shared belief, a shared grievance.
Right. It's decentralized.
Yeah, exactly. Or imagine a really complex technical problem. Lots of interconnected parts, but maybe no single leader component that everything depends on. Fixing one part might help, but the underlying issue might just pop up somewhere else.
Because the system is redundant or adaptive?
Precisely. It has too much resilience for one single strike to be decisive. So you have to be critical. Is this leader I've identified truly indispensable to the resistance? Or am I just hitting one head of a hydra?
That's a great image. Misidentifying the leader or underestimating the system's complexity could lead to a lot of frustration.
For sure. Wasted effort.
Okay, that's a really important nuance. Be precise, understand the whole system. So bringing this all together, what does it mean for you listening right now? How can you actually start applying this for that work project, that personal goal, that problem that's just bugging you?
Yeah, this raises the key question. What's the leader of the resistance you're dealing with? I'd really encourage you, maybe pause and think about one specific challenge you have. Now, don't just list the symptoms, the frustrations. Ask yourself, using those categories we talked about. 1, is it a literal person? That manager who's a bottleneck? A difficult client? Maybe even a team member whose negativity spreads? 2, is it a core idea or belief? An assumption that's holding you back? A fear of failure? Maybe an unspoken rule in your team or family?
That internal script again.
Right. 3, is it critical resource or dependency? A lack of budget? Missing a key skill? Relying too much on one unstable partner? Or that piece of software that drives everyone crazy?
Okay.
And 4, is it a central process or a habit? That meeting that goes nowhere, the way you start your day, a specific step in a workflow that always gets jammed up.
That framework is really helpful.
It helps you move past the surface noise, right? Like if you're struggling to, say, learn Spanish, the leader might feel like lack of time, but maybe it's actually the habit of only trying to study in huge, daunting blocks.
So the approach is the leader.
Could be. So striking that leader might mean committing to just 5 minutes, twice a day. Suddenly it feels doable, consistency builds, and maybe things unlock.
I see.
Or a business plan keeps hitting roadblocks. Maybe the leader isn't lack of effort, but a fundamental misunderstanding of what the customer actually wants or needs. Addressing that core idea first could make everything else make sense.
It's about finding that leverage point, that fulcrum.
Exactly, where the smallest, most precise push gives you the biggest result.
That is such a practical way to think about it. This whole deep dive, it really hammers home the strategic power of finding that central source, that leader, instead of just flailing at all the symptoms.
Yeah, getting lost in the weeds.
And really understanding how versatile that idea of leader is. Person, idea, resource, process, habit. It could be any of them.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture one last time, the principle isn't really about aggression or brute force, is it? It's about clarity.
Clarity.
Yeah. Seeing the system clearly, understanding the resistance, and then knowing exactly where to put your energy for the most significant cascading impact. It turns you from just a doer into a strategist.
A strategist in your own life or work. I love that. Okay, so as you go about your week, here's our challenge to you, our final thought to ponder. Look for the leader of the resistance in whatever challenge you're facing, big or small. What single point, if you could truly understand it, truly address it with precision, might just make everything else start to fall into place for you?
It's a powerful question to ask.
It really is. We hope this deep dive gives you some new tools to find that leverage point. Thanks so much for joining us today.